Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome to the program. I'm Avery Cooper. People's Bank and Trust proud to bring you the stream on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com's Facebook and on WTIM TV YouTube. People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, along with Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. I'm here in studio with Sydney Frisina. Great to have you here, Sydney.
Hey, Ree, thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about why you are here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again for having me on, because I know with my particular project, there's been a lot of interest and a lot of questions. So let me just tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah, please.
First of all, I am from Taylorville, born and bred, 4 generations, and I have always loved Taylorville. I think it really shaped me who I am. As a person, so over the last couple of years, I've been looking at Taylorville and the Taylorville Square and thinking from a commercial real estate property standpoint that I loved what I was seeing. I loved seeing what the mayor's doing, the Chamber of Commerce, the small town Taylorville group, and some great entrepreneurs that are already starting to do revitalization. And I took my background and I thought, you know what? I think I can really add to this and do some great improvements on the square. So I started a company called Heartland Development Company, Heartland Development Partners, Inc., and a nonprofit that goes along with it called Revitalize Rural America. And myself and some great investors, some who are from Taylorville, who don't live here anymore, some who still live here, some who don't live here, but really saw the promise of Taylorville and care about small town revitalization. We all came together and we have bought several buildings on the square, and we've got some great plans for them that include new businesses, performing arts venue, and just some really exciting things, including the first rooftop bar patio in Christian County.
I want to talk a lot about that. Trust me. Tell me a little bit about your background first.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, I am from Taylorville, Illinois, graduated from Taylorville High School. My family is from here, and my great-grandfather, Dominic Frisina, was an entrepreneur of a greater magnitude than what I'm encountering or what I'm trying to do right now. He had a chain of movie theaters throughout the Midwest, 63 actually, including one on the Taylorville Square, and a hotel. Many of the older generations may remember the Hotel Frisina and the Zebra Room, which was a happening place to be. And he also did other property revitalization. So I think I really take after a lot of what he does or he did back in the day. My path took me to University of Illinois and Northwestern, and then on into my 30-year career that included a long stretch at Hyatt Hotels and Resorts. I was the head of marketing there in Chicago, but it was a global role where I really saw property development and concept development of how you bring a community together, add entertainment, and think about living spaces and entertaining spaces and all the things that make a community attractive to people. And so that really stuck with me. I then did a lot of nonprofit work along the world and grant writing. And so another great thing about Taylorville is the opportunity for grants that can help. I always like the phrase, rising tides lift all boats. So I am looking forward to bringing that experience to Taylorville, not just for my projects, but for other projects that will help the community.
You mentioned the living areas, or rather the communal areas, and entertainment and things that bring people to a community like Taylorville. But what would you say are some of the core things that you're interested in developing for Taylorville, specifically here, outside of, the bar, which I really we'll get to.
Yeah, absolutely. So my focus primarily is the square. So the Taylorville Square, and plus one block off. So I'm really trying to stay within that historic square district with a mix of businesses, mixed use, and living space as well. that seems to be in, short supply. And I think the opportunity to really, I'm looking at it from a sort of a strategic city planning standpoint of some core important corners of the square that were iconic buildings and businesses that people really want to see come back to life again. So, I'm working with architects and developers and business people to both renovate those buildings, add new structures, and put new businesses in, which will also bring jobs.
And that's on part of your business that you own and operate, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Along with the nonprofit, I guess that I'm trying to draw the strings between these two. How do they connect?
Yeah. So a really interesting model. And it's been used a lot both with urban and small town development is sort of the public-private partnership model, where you leverage them together for greater impact. And so that's my background. And so we've got the Heartland Development Partners, Inc., which is doing the commercial property development. And then you have Revitalize Rural America, that is the nonprofit entity that will be able to really focus on the performing arts venue to begin with, but other community-based ways to improve the community. And when you have a nonprofit, you can then apply for other grants and do other things that you can't necessarily do in a for-profit model, but it really helps drive business, consumer traffic, foot traffic. There's a lot benefit to having a nonprofit component. So I'm super excited about how that might benefit what's already happening in Taylorville, and help improve business in general and quality of life.
How much of the performing arts aspect will the nonprofit, I beg your pardon, I keep forgetting the name of the nonprofit.
Revitalize Rural America.
Revitalize Rural America. How
Yes.
much will that focus on performing arts
So
around the square?
Yeah, so that is going to be the key initial focus for revitalizeRuralAmerica.org, because anything in terms of cultural arts, performing arts, if you look at what people are looking for in a community and improving quality of life, that actually is a very important area that is often neglected in a small town. But the other great thing about it is it usually when people will attend a performance or a show or whatever it might be, it will then increase their spending around the square. So they might go to a restaurant, or they might go into a retail shop or something like that. So that's going to be terrific. And for those people listening that may remember, Taylorville had a great venue like this years ago called Nashville North, that drew national acts from all over and people from all over. And they're also not far away. Of course, you have Springfield, but you have the Effingham Performing Arts Center. But you have nothing in Christian County. So this will be the first performing arts venue, multi-purpose auditorium in Christian County, approximately 1,200 seats, with a main floor, mezzanine, and rooftop garden. Because if we add anything like that, you then are eligible for more grants because it's considered green space, etc. So really excited about what that might be able to bring to the community. And a lot of that funding will be coming from grants, private foundations, and other entities like that really want to see small communities have something that is arts or cultural related.
And it sounds like too, you sound very, as a grant writer, very informed on how to leverage all of those grants, and to the point where sometimes it's better to go all out, go for every grant you can, make it as extravagant as you can. I guess I don't really know if there was a question behind that. We're running up against the break anyway.
Yeah,
I just
that's awesome.
thought it was interesting about that, how
Yeah,
you are trying. You mentioned the green, right? And
Yes.
if you continue, you just have a little bit of an incentive there. You can apply for more grants, more money, and then
Exactly.
create an even better venue. I just wanted to kind of highlight
Yeah,
that.
that's really my expertise is figuring out, how to access the funds that are available to really help improve Taylorville.
Yeah. All right. Let's head into a quick break. That's Sydney Frisina here, as she has some great ideas here for the Taylorville Square as part of revitalizing rural America. Did I get that?
Profit, and then
Yeah.
Heartland Development Partners is the commercial real
I'm gonna have to write
estate.
that down on my hand here. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first.
WTIM. Your information station. WTIM.
Welcome to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm here in the studio with Sydney Frisina, and we're talking about some ways to make Taylorville an even better place to live. It's already a great place to
It's
live,
a great place.
as they say. And so, briefly here, for those who just tuned in, provide a little bit of background on what your organizations are and what you plan to do. Just a quick overview, 30-second
Sure, yeah,
synopsis.
absolutely.
Catch everyone up.
So I have Heartland Development Partners Inc., which is a commercial real estate company that I started, that is has purchased and is in the process of renovating key buildings on the Taylorville Square and right off the square for community benefit and to really help the whole community, and also a nonprofit organization that's called Revitalize Rural America that will be doing some nonprofit activities that will also help, the whole square, like performing arts venue and being able to apply for grants and things like that. But one thing I realize I should mention is many people who may know me and know that I left Taylorville,
Mhm.
after I graduated from high school and went away to college, and I've been gone for a while. But have come back to do this project, and many people might wonder why that is. And so I think that's worth mentioning that I have always loved Taylorville, but I really see the promise here. I mean, anyone, especially if they're not from here and they see our Taylorville Square, they just fall in love with the beautiful courthouse and the clock tower. I mean, it looks like it could be a Hallmark movie set. And I think with the demographic shift that's happening post COVID and people really embracing small town community values, they want to be safe, they want to have space. It points to, I think, a real interest in small town revitalization. I'm seeing it all around the country,
Mhm.
actually, of people doing this. People who might have lived somewhere, moved away, they want to come back, they want to help their town, or they never left and they see the potential and they want to help.
Mhm.
Make their community the best it can be. So, I'm excited to be able to work on this kind of project.
Especially with the prevalence of a remote work, more people are moving in from bigger cities to smaller towns like Taylorville, performing their remote work and living and participating in the small town economy of a place like Taylorville.
Absolutely. I mean, people right now, can be if their profession, or
Right.
job lends
Allows it.
itself to that, they could be working wherever and they could be, right here. In fact, I have an office in New York. I don't have to be there, for certain things for my nonprofit and
Right.
grant work, but I can, work from wherever I am. And so that didn't used to exist. But now it's a real trend, and I don't think it's going away. And that's another thing that can really help a town like Taylorville.
Which buildings have you purchased?
Yeah, absolutely. Super exciting. There are several key corners, as I mentioned, of iconic buildings. So one of the first ones is most people would a- absolutely know it for now decades as the Rini Drugstore building, which is a just a fantastic building. In fact, people may not know that we believe it is the first drive-through pharmacy in the United States. So Jack Mazzotti, who's been the owner, and his family's been the owner for 4 generations, told me that they believe that it was the very first one, which is terrific. And it was the place on the square to be in the morning for coffee, for lunch, just it was a real meeting place, a real
Mhm.
community hub.
Right.
So I'm super excited to be bringing that back. We will be renovating that first floor, bringing back the diner feel, but updated for today, and putting a rooftop bar patio on the top with a perfect view of the courthouse and the square. Couldn't be, we've already just begun that work. So you can count on enjoying your cup of coffee or your favorite beverage later next summer.
Mm.
So that is building number one that work is beginning on. And another key building that I think the community really loves and just is a stunning building is people might know it as either the Union Block building, the old Slatton department store,
Mhm.
or the Doyle Fraley Law building is right on the corner next to Anderson Jewelers. So most recently, it was a law office,
Okay.
just a stunning building. I cannot wait to renovate that and repaint it and bring it back to its glory. So that is a terrific building. And then right off the square, the Harrison building or Sutton building. I'm
Mhm.
not sure what people, currently would
Right,
mention
right.
it. So that building and the parking lot next to it, again, a really important and strategic area for this square that could be that is the plan for Lincoln Hall.
Mhm.
Lincoln Hall is going to be the name of the performing arts venue, which is exciting as it should be, to play off the whole history and connection to Abraham Lincoln. And that will be just such a wonderful entrance to the square, since that is the way that people enter the square. So there are a few other buildings as well.
That's very exciting.
Yeah,
And
exciting.
I really want to talk more about it, but we're out of time. Thank you so much,
Sure,
Sydney.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Sydney Frasina here on the WTIM Morning Show.
WTIM.